Today I'm going to teach you a mental trick for pickleball. Once my students understand this, they start winning more games immediately. Hi folks, Coach Jeff here, coach of pickleball, former coach of golf. One of the things I like to equate when I have students that have already played golf is I like to get them to think about their golf club choice. So when you're in the back and you're behind the baseline and you want to hit a hard, low shot, you want to think about using a driver. So I'm going to hit a couple just to show you the trajectory of a driver. Nice little 280 straight down the middle, I'll take that. So what you want to do is think about that because it's going to go over the net. Unfortunately, I can't put topspin on a driver, but that's what you want to think of. You want to think about, my driver is set up at an 8-degree angle, so it's set up about here. So when I'm hitting it, I'm keeping it at that 8-degree angle. Okay, now I'm at mid-court. I've come into the transition zone. I'm about halfway in between the mid-court. I'm about halfway in between the baseline and the non-volley zone. So what I'm going to be thinking about is about a 7-iron. 7-iron is probably about 38 degrees, 37 degrees on a normal one. So I'm going to be hitting this higher, but it's not going to go as far. And that's kind of what we want to think about when we have a set. So as you can see, that went higher, but it didn't go as far because of the angle. You can see they're going higher than the driver did, but they're not going as far. So I'm getting it up in the air a little more because I don't have as much room to hit and land in the back court. Now I'm going to move up to the non-volley zone. Okay, now I'm up at the non-volley zone and I want to be thinking sand wedge. This is my 54-degree sand wedge, and I want to keep that open so that when I'm hitting it, it's going over the net, either going cross court or going straight ahead, but I want to make sure I'm opening up that face so it goes up like that. Watch how high this goes when I hit it. As you can see, that thing went straight up in the air, but it landed softly. That's what we're looking for when we're dinking. We're looking for shots that will go over the net, but land softly. If we want to, again, I can't put cut spin on this, I can't put top spin on this, but we want to think of paddle angles when we're thinking about where we are in there. And if you can relate to that as a golfer, it might help your game quite a bit.
If you found this helpful so far, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us out.
What I see from a lot of students is they're using a 6-iron back there and they're still using the 6-iron here. The loft is not enough and they're hitting with too much pace. So they're putting their paddle down and it looks like this instead of this. So we need enough so that we can hit up on the ball to carry it over. But what I see is people keeping they're dipping, they're not using their knees, they're dropping their paddle here, and then they're hitting it with too much pace. So we got to think about pace, we got to think about height, we got to think about spin. Which of those three, all three of those put together, are we going to use? When we're hitting it straight across, remember, they're 14 feet away from us. And as you can see, my golf ball retriever, if my paddle is here, I have to hit a pretty high shot just to get it over. If I'm going to do that, I got to lower my expectation on pace. I've got to hit a softer ball. I don't have much time to use any spin. So it's all about using the correct amount of pace and the correct amount of height, because if I hit the net, I'm done. Where's a better place to hit when we're dinking, when we're trying to get our people to move on their horizontal angle? And that would be over here. So if I'm starting over here and I hit it cross court, how does that change things? Number one, I don't have to use a sand wedge. I can use a pitching wedge or a 9-iron because I have more distance. So if I'm over here, instead of having 14 feet, I have about 21 feet that I can hit it to. So if I have 21 feet, I can change my paddle angle. So I can set my paddle angle, and instead of being here, I can have it here. So I can hit with more pace. I have more room to put some top spin on it or cut spin, whichever I desire, and I can hit it into that corner And it's going to be to my partner's or my opponent's backhand if they're right-handed. So it's a lot better if we're thinking about angles. We got to think about changing our movement at the non-volley zone, opening up our paddle and being able to lift this way or turning, and now I can take a little bit of angle off and push it straight across and add a little pace to it. So think about those things when you're coming up to the non-volley zone. How high do you have to hit it? How much pace do you have to put on it? And how much spin, room for spin, do you have? Try that next time you're there. Hope that helps.